Warning: Film thoughts contain spoilers and opinions. Christopher Nolan, perhaps one of the most important filmmakers in the industry. While at the wrap party for his 2020 film Tenet, he was gifted a book by Robert Pattinson containing the speeches of a man named J. Robert Oppenheimer. Thus he was inspired to tackle the story of this man's life, and that's how we were gifted one half of the Barbenheimer duo, Oppenheimer. When filming my ranking of my top 15 favorite films of the year, I knew that Oppenheimer being left out would obviously lead to people scratching their heads. Why was it not included? What made it any less than those other films? So, to start off film thoughts, I'm going to discuss what worked for me, what didn't, and how my enjoyment of the film grew with time. The story follows J. Robert Oppenheimer, played by Cillian Murphy, who is the man responsible for the atomic bomb. He's recruited by a general during World War II, played by Matt Damon, and is assigned to work on the mysterious Manhattan Project. Meanwhile, we constantly cut back to a private hearing set up by physicist Lewis Strauss, played by Robert Downey Jr., to interrogate Oppenheimer with hopes of removing his security clearance required to access top-secret data. As the film continues, we see the mental stability and emotional state of Oppenheimer crumble to ruin as he's constantly haunted by his actions and participation in making a possible world-ending device. Motivations are revealed, trust is broken, and tragedy ensues. I want to start off by saying that this movie pulls out all of the stops in its production: the cinematography, the sound design, the score, the visuals, the use of color. All of it phenomenally encapsulates Nolan's biggest strengths as a filmmaker. It also helps that you have some powerhouse performances from Cillian Murphy, Matt Damon, Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh, and Robert Downey Jr. You're probably thinking about what didn't work for me. Well, one minor complaint I've had with not only Christopher Nolan films, but Martin Scorsese films as well, is the runtime. To Oppenheimer's credit, it was not as annoying as Killers of the Flower Moon's runtime, which I'll touch on when I do a video covering that film. I'm not even knocking the runtime itself here, it's more so what we do within it. The first 2 hours of this film are gold. You could not ask for a more well put together biopic and historical thriller. Sure, the structure of the story can leave you in a bit of a daze, and you can be lost if you're not able to keep up with what is happening the first time around. The second time around, when I watched this, I was able to take it all in. I could revisit the moments I didn't fully comprehend, and find myself enjoying the film even more after filling in the gaps. Unfortunately, the final hour of this film leans heavily into the conflict between Oppenheimer and Strauss. There is a moment where Strauss feels humiliated by Oppenheimer, and there are multiple instances where Strauss feels as though Oppenheimer has undercut his capabilities as a chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission. There's great chemistry between Cillian and Robert, so you feel the tension there, but the film just drags it out a bit too long for my liking. That's once again, however, a minor complaint. The only true explanation I can give you for it being left out of my top 15 best movies of the year list is that there was just a lot of films this year that I had fun with, and they didn't overstay their welcome as much as this one. If I had the time, I would have done a top 25 just to give this film the spotlight it deserves, but that's where this video comes in. Regardless of the final hour, I do still like how I can see both sides of the argument here. You want to support Oppenheimer because of how hard he's fought for this and how arrogant and dismissive Strauss has been throughout the film. You also can see where Strauss's concerns about Oppenheimer are valid because we've spent the last few hours in his headspace. We know he is a damaged man that does know what he's talking about, but is haunted by the choices he's made. It's just a phenomenal character study all around. So, what did you think of Oppenheimer? Was it overhyped? Did you go see this and Barbie back to back? Do you agree with my take on the film? Either way, sound off in the comments, because the best part about film thoughts is we all have different ones. Take care and goodbye.